No one on Station Vargas 3 respected humans, not anymore. The war had drained Earth's fleets, and the once proud Terran banners now hung like forgotten memories. Humans were good only as laborers or entertainment for the stronger species. That was why the soldiers laughed when Marcus Hale stepped into the cargo bay, bruised, exhausted, freshly arrived from a mining assignment. They circled him like predators surrounding prey. "Welcome home, mudblood," sneered a towering reptilian Garax officer. "We brought you a gift." The soldiers rolled out a stasis pod. The transparent glass was cracked, the life support flickering. Someone, lay inside, a woman, beautiful even in her injuries. Pale silver skin, hair metallic blue like the night sky, and a crown shattered into fragments beside her. One soldier tapped a data pad and the pod hissed open. The woman fell into Marcus's arms, weak, trembling. Her eyes fluttered open, pupils like galaxies spiraling. "She's a fallen queen," mocked another. "Used to command armies. Now she's a corpse waiting to happen." The Garax officer leaned close to Marcus. "She was captured, tortured, crown stripped. Her empire refused to pay ransom. They want her forgotten, just like your species." The soldiers burst into cruel laughter. A defective queen for a worthless human. A perfect pair. Marcus didn't laugh. His jaw clenched with disgust. "What do you expect me to do with her?" he asked quietly. "Oh, nothing," the officer smirked. "She's as dead as your dignity. Just drag her to waste disposal." They tossed Marcus a tiny, rusted medkit, intentionally useless. "Good luck, human," the officer chuckled, walking away. "Try not to break your toy." Despite the humiliation, Marcus only tightened his grip around the wounded woman as she coughed weakly against his shoulder. "You're safe," he whispered. "I won't throw you away," her voice was barely audible. "Do you know who I am?" "No," Marcus said simply, "but I know you're someone who deserves better than them." For the first time in what felt like years, someone looked at her not with fear or contempt, but with kindness. Her hand clutched his shirt, a silent plea to not be abandoned again. Marcus carried her to his tiny maintenance room, barely more than a storage closet, and laid her onto his cot. "I'm Marcus," he said softly, "and you're going to live." His words shouldn't have mattered, but they did, because someone finally cared. The rise of a queen. Her name was Queen Aeloria of the Etherean Dominion, one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. Her fall had shattered her kingdom. Betrayed by allies, her armies scattered, and her people oppressed. And now she lay in the bed of a miner, a human, a species she had once been told was primitive. Days passed. Marcus worked thankless shifts repairing plasma machinery, then returned to tend to Aeloria. He cleaned her wounds, shared his meager rations, rewired old med tech to restore her strength. Every moment she studied him, his burdened shoulders, calloused hands, and never-ending empathy. "You strange creature," she murmured once. "Why do you care for me?" Marcus shrugged. "Because you needed help, even knowing I cannot repay you. You don't owe me anything." Her lips trembled, the words foreign to her world of power and politics. "No one has ever said that to me." As her recovery progressed, she revealed pieces of her past. Her crown wasn't merely decorative, it was a psionic conductor tied to her authority. Without it, she was cut off from her people's neural network, from everything she was. But one thing shocked her the most. The others treated Marcus like filth. One evening he returned with a swollen eye. She reached out, anger flashing in her gaze. "Who did this to you?" "Just some bored soldiers," Marcus said, brushing it off. "They like reminding me where humans stand." Aeloria sat up, trembling with fury. "You serve. You toil, yet they despise you. Why do you endure it?" "Because someone has to fix this station," Marcus smirked, "or it'll explode." "Those idiots sure can't." Despite herself, she smiled. A queen who thought smiles were a luxury. Smiled because of a human. Over the following weeks, Aeloria regained fragments of her psionic strength. Her eyes glowed brighter. Her posture straightened. She spoke with quiet regality once more. She watched Marcus carefully. When others beat him, he didn't retaliate. When they mocked him, he stayed calm. When they stole from him, he forgave. "You humans," she said one night, as Marcus repaired her broken crown. "You suffer more than any species I've seen. Yet you hope. You help. You rise." Marcus paused, soldering tool in hand. "I don't know about rising. But I do, she insisted. You rise by lifting others. She rested a hand on his. And Marcus, you lifted me. Everything changed the day the Garrick's Dominion sent a new commander, a vicious warlord named General Kraith. He discovered that Aeloria still lived. Bring me the fallen queen, he demanded, and execute the human who defied me. Soldiers stormed Marcus's quarters. They shoved him to the ground as Kraith grabbed Aeloria by the throat. You were supposed to die forgotten, he growled. Your empire sent no one. They do not want you. Aeloria spat blood at his feet. My people would never abandon me. Your crown is broken. Your network severed. You are nothing. Marcus, bleeding, dragged himself between them. She isn't nothing. Kraith laughed. You defend her? A queen who lost everything? Pathetic. Marcus glared through bloodied vision. She didn't lose everything. She still has me. That stunned even Aeloria. Kraith lifted his blade. Then you will die together. Ending. The new empire rises as the blade descended. Aeloria screamed, not in fear, but awakening power. Her broken crown, now repaired by human hands, flickered with life. A surge of psionic energy exploded outward. Soldiers were hurled back like ragdolls. Lights shattered. Alarms screamed. Aeloria floated into the air, radiant like a star reborn. The crown fragments reformed into a gleaming circlet upon her brow. Her voice boomed across the station. I am Aeloria, ascended queen of the Etherean, and this human is under my protection. General Kraith trembled, realizing too late the threat he had let recover. He roared and lunged, but Marcus tackled him mid-charge, giving Aeloria the moment she needed. With a single psionic strike, Kraith collapsed, unconscious and defeated. Moments later, the Etherean fleet arrived, massive ships appearing from warp, responding finally to the restored Queen's psionic signal. Elite guards stormed the station, arresting Garrick's officers and freeing slaves, and including humans. One guard kneeled before Aeloria. Your Majesty, we believed you lost. I was, she said softly, until a human showed me the way back. She guided Marcus forward. This man lifted your queen higher than any throne ever could. Treat his people as allies, not servants. Marcus was speechless. Aeloria turned to him, not as royalty, but as someone deeply grateful. You gave me back my life, she whispered. Let me give humanity back its future. She extended her hand. Come with me, Marcus Hale. Be my protector, my advisor, my equal. Marcus looked at the station, the cruelty he endured, then into her hopeful eyes. He took her hand. Anywhere. Epilogue. A new solar dawn months. Past, Earth no longer knelt before the galaxy. It stood alongside the Etherean Empire, protected by a queen who never forgot the human who saved her. Marcus stood at Aeloria's side on a grand balcony overlooking a united fleet. Crowds of humans and aliens roared together in celebration. Aeloria leaned close, her voice warm. You lifted me higher than anyone else. Now, let me lift your entire species. And so, humanity, once mocked and broken, soared into a future where every voice mattered, all because one human looked at a fallen queen and chose to lift her up. Marcus Hale never imagined standing in a palace made of living crystal, floating above a world of violet oceans and twin moons. Yet here he stood, beside Queen Aeloria, the woman he once saved from death. Aeloria now wore her full regalia, shimmering armor and her restored crown pulsing with psionic light. And Marcus? He still wore his patched maintenance jacket. No medals. No honors. He wasn't here for glory. The Etherean court, however, didn't approve. Nobles glared. Generals gossiped. Diplomats sneered at the sight of a human beside their queen. He is unfit. He is beneath us. A pet should not walk among royalty. Aeloria's gaze turned ice cold. One more insult spoken against Marcus Hale, she said, voice echoing through the throne hall, and you will discover what true insignificance means. The room fell silent, but silence didn't erase resentment. It merely buried it. Marcus whispered, You don't have to do that for me. Aeloria replied softly, You lifted me up when I had nothing. Now I have everything, and I will use it to lift you. Yet deep inside, Marcus felt the weight of being out of place. Humans were still seen as weak, a species that had barely begun to grow. He worried he was a burden, a liability, and someone else worried too, enough to destroy him. Middle. The plot against the human who changed a queen among the nobles was Lord Varen, the former royal advisor who secretly aided in Aeloria's capture to steal the throne. When she survived, his plans collapsed, and he blamed one man, Marcus Hale. "We must separate them," Varen hissed to his conspirators. "She trusts him too much. Humans are manipulators. He will ruin her." "But how?" the general asked. "Simple," Varen sneered. "Show the queen that the human she values is vulnerable." That night, Marcus stood on a balcony looking at the stars. The vast beauty of Etherian made him feel both inspired and small. He heard soft footsteps. "You should be inside," Aeloria said gently. "The nobles are judging me," Marcus finished with a half-smile. "I'm getting used to it." Aeloria's expression softened. "You changed my life, Marcus. You gave me reason to rise again. Do not doubt your worth," he turned to her, voice low. "I'm just a mechanic. You're an empress." She stepped closer. "And you're the man who saved me when no empire did." Their hands brushed, electricity in the air. But before a deeper moment could form, alarms erupted. Boom! The balcony shook violently. A blast of energy struck the palace shields. Soldiers shouted. Panic spread. Aeloria's demeanor changed instantly. "Queen mode. Enemies are here," she roared. "To arms." Marcus followed her, but guards forcibly blocked him. "Humans are not permitted in combat zones," one snarled. He pushed back, desperate to help, but a stun baton struck the back of his skull. The world went black. When Marcus awoke, his hands were bound. He was inside a containment chamber. No exits. Lord Varen's voice crackled through a speaker. "Earth vermin. Did you think you belonged in the Queen's presence?" Marcus pulled against the restraints, furious. "What do you want from me?" "I want you gone," Varen said coldly. "When she loses you, she will break again, and then the throne will be mine." A hologram activated, showing Aeloria fighting enemies breaching. "The palace gates." Varen smiled like a serpent. "You will watch as the woman you love dies trying to find you." Marcus's eyes widened. Varen knew. Everyone knew, and Marcus didn't deny it. Escape of the human who refuses to break. Marcus scanned the chamber. Plain walls, energy locks, a ventilation pipe too small for most species. "Too small for most species," he smirked. "Good thing humans are excellent at crawling through tight spaces." He dislocated his thumb, gritting through the pain, and slipped one hand free. With leverage, he cracked the restraint module and crawled into the vent. Emergency lights flashed red as he dropped into a corridor full of fallen guards, knocked out by psychic waves. The sounds of battle echoed nearby. He grabbed a fallen rifle and sprinted toward the throne hall. Every step, only one thought burned in him. I promised I'd never leave her. Showdown, the human and the queen against a traitor. The throne hall was chaos. Fire, psionic explosions, and soldiers fighting desperately. At the center, Aeloria battled Lord Varen, whose stolen artifact ring multiplied his power. "You were weak," Varen screamed. "A queen who allowed a human to touch her." Aeloria dodged a blast and countered with a psionic strike that shook the palace. "Love is not weakness," she growled. "It is strength you fear," Varen charged, energy flaring. Aeloria faltered, drained. Marcus burst into the hall. "Aeloria!" She turned, relief on her face, but Varen saw his chance. A lightning bolt of psionic energy flew, aiming at Aeloria's heart. Marcus didn't think. He ran, he leapt, he shielded her with his body. The blast struck him full force. He collapsed to the ground, smoking, bleeding, barely breathing. Aeloria's scream was otherworldly. "No!" Her power erupted like a supernova. The psychic blast shattered Varen's ring and smashed him into the throne with lethal force. Silence. The battle was over. But Marcus wasn't moving. Ending. The human heart that crowns a Queen Aeloria cradled Marcus in her arms, trembling. "Marcus, look at me," she begged. "You will not leave me. I forbid it." He opened his eyes weakly, smile fragile. "You always were, bossy." A tear slid down her cheek, glowing like liquid starlight. "Why would you do that?" Her voice cracked. "I cannot lose you." Marcus lifted a shaking hand to her face. "Because you lifted me higher than anyone else ever did." His breathing slowed. Aeloria pressed her forehead to his. "You are not allowed to die," she whispered. "I need you." For the first time in her life, the mighty queen prayed, and the universe listened. Her crown pulsed, channeling the collective life force of billions. She poured every ounce into Marcus, healing wounds, repairing cells, reigniting life. He gasped, air filling his lungs. Aeloria sobbed with joy and wrapped her arms around him. "You stubborn human," she whispered. "You are mine, and I am yours." Epilogue. The human who sat beside the stars weeks later. A grand ceremony filled the palace. Humans from Earth stood proudly among the guests. Aeloria took her throne, then extended a second seat beside her. "Marcus Hale," she declared, voice carrying to the cosmos. "You proved a human heart is stronger than any crown. You saved your queen. You united two peoples, and you taught me what true strength is." Marcus stood, looking out at the countless faces watching. "I'm not a warrior," he said. "I'm not special. I just refuse to let someone good fall." Aeloria took his hand, not as ruler to servant, but as equal to equal. From this day on, she proclaimed, Earth shall stand as the first ally of the Etherian Empire, because of this human. The crowd roared, humans and Etherians united. Marcus leaned close, whispering, "You sure your people are ready for a mechanic in government?" Aeloria smiled. "You are not just a mechanic. You are the man who lifted a queen higher than anyone else." Marcus squeezed her hand. "And you are the queen who lifted a human higher than the stars."